It's important to make the transition for children returning home as smooth as possible because Julie knows children really want to go home.
Kids love their biological parents. You know, that's the reality, is that biology is really important. And sometimes no matter what the parents have done, they love them and they want to be with them. And I think a lot has to do with how we transition them back. But I think as they watch us care for their parents, love their parents, that I think as they watch that, it makes that transition easier. Sometimes we'll drop the kids off for a visit and they can be well behaved and that type of thing, but they can sometimes walk through the door, and many times they go back to act like they did when they were first removed out of the home. So there's, again, many times a worker that will help do that transition and help them learn to obey rules and mom and dad to be firmer, maybe, or tougher, or more consistent in their discipline, so that it is a smoother transition as they go back home.
There have been instances when children were sent back to foster care after being returned home, but Julie says the biological parents usually regain custody in the end. Children can stay in foster care until they graduate high school, but once they are 18, they must voluntarily sign themselves into foster care. Sometimes children are unable to go home and the biological parents give up their rights.
In the state of Iowa, about 56% in 2007 were returned home. And the other part of that went on to adoptive homes or relative placement. Relative placements are becoming a lot bigger in the state of Iowa.
One of the things I've noticed that, you know, from years ago until now, like when my brothers were in foster care, at that time, kids were in foster care in the system for a long time. And I think that's really tough for kids, especially. It's like they're in limbo. They don't really know, you know, what's going to happen to me next. Where now, there are going to be some decisions made so that they know what's in their future. They know that they're going to be reunited with their parents, or that they're going to be adopted by a good family.
For those children that cannot go home and cannot be placed in relative care, a private agency called KidsNet has formed a website that lists the kids that currently are in need of adoption. KidsNet helps match adoptive parents with foster children so they don't have to move from home to home.
Generally, the younger kids are much easier, obviously, to adopt. It's the older kids that we really need. You know, the average age of children in foster care in the state of Iowa is about 10.9 years. And so it's those kids that are 10 and above that sometimes have a much more difficult job in placement.
KidsNet also helps the Department of Human Services make good foster parent and children matches. While these programs are beneficial, Julie says more foster and adoptive parents are needed.
I think the biggest initiative right now is with KidsNet taking over is they want to find good matches. And we haven't had the ability to really make a lot of good matches because there weren't enough homes out there to find the best match for kids. And there's a lot of kids waiting for adoptive homes.
Julie and Ken think foster parenting is very rewarding, and they are glad they have been able to give back.
I think it's probably just seeing some of them continue on, now married, and they're fostering. If you can touch just a few lives in a positive way, and who can say no to a child?
To see the difference that a caring family in the right time, in the right situation, to just kind of protect a child for a time and then put them back in a situation that's healthier, time and time again throughout my life, it's been amazing.
There's a lot of lives you can touch, one child at a time. Some of our kids were, you know, we've had the 70 that we've had, some of them may have only been there 3 days because then they went back home or went to a relative placement. But you learn that no matter the amount of length of time you have, that you can make at least a little bit of an impact.
If you are interested in becoming a foster or adoptive parent and would like more information, call KidsNet at 1-800-243-0756. Training classes in Oskaloosa will start in August.